and welcome. You are watching Fourth Estate right here on ZTN Prime. This is a show where we tackle all things journalism and media here in Zimbabwe. My name is Faith Nyaude. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the media plays a big role in informing, educating, and bringing information closer to the public. Today on Fourth Estate, we are focusing on the recently launched Integrated Management Information System, IMIS, by the Law Society of Zimbabwe, a digital platform that is designed to streamline services for both lawyers and the public. Now, the system brings core LSZ services online, making processes and communications with their members more efficient. Importantly, it also gives ordinary citizens the ability to lodge complaints against legal practitioners digitally, a major step towards greater transparency and accountability in the legal profession. To discuss this today in studio, I am joined by Mr. Edward Mapara, Executive Secretary, Law Society of Zimbabwe. Mr. Mapara, thank you so much and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and good evening to your audience.
Now, our discussion today will be, will digital tools make legal services accessible? Let's get started and straight into our discussion. Now, the Law Society, like I did say, recently unveiled a new digital platform. It's now known as the Integrated Management Information System. I don't know if it's IMIS or IMIS. How do you pronounce it?
I think either way is fine. I prefer to just call it IMS.
Okay.
Yes.
So IMS now, many in the public and those in the legal profession might not really now understand how this system fully is working because it has just been introduced and what really it is meant to achieve. You could just briefly explain to us what IMS is, what does it seek to achieve, and how is it benefiting our legal professionals as well as the public?
Thank you very much. For a long time, we have always dreamed as legal profession, as the Law Society, we have always dreamed of electronic service delivery to our members and to the public. And we are happy that with IMS, we have been able to achieve what we have always sought to do, to have a service that is delivered effectively and electronically. So the system is just there to make sure that we are accessible to the people. People are able to get to us, share their issues with us, and we are able to respond to them on the click of a button, and they get the service. Particularly the legal profession itself, there is a lot of paperwork that has been characterizing their offices and their interaction with the Law Society. If you were to go into our offices and look at the amount of paperwork that we have to plow through when people are applying for their practicing certificates, especially at the beginning of the year, it's books and books of paper that are submitted, proof of training, practicing certificate application forms, and many other required papers that have to be filed before you are issued with your practicing certificate. We have realized that it is a lot of work, not only for the members, but also for the Secretariat. The result has been there are delays inevitably when you have to go through such amount of paper. And delays are something that lawyers don't appreciate. Lawyers want their practicing certificate on the go. When they apply, they want to get it there and then and be able to appear in court and not face an obstruction. So we are trying to bring efficiency and effectiveness to our systems and to the lawyers themselves.
Was my next question now was going to be, we are moving away from the paper trail now to a digital inclusive technology where you're saying you don't need your papers, you don't need to go from office A to office B, everything can be accessed online. So that was the rationale behind introducing this system, I understand.
Indeed, that has been, and but it is not only member-facing, it is also public-facing. So the members of the public are also able to interact with the society. We are still developing the modules, and we will be having more modules in future. But currently, members of the public will be able to submit their complaints against legal practitioners online.
So that's the only thing it's currently doing for the public?
For the public.
So you can submit and say, I am not happy with the conduct of lawyer ABCD through the digital platform?
That's correct.
Okay. So now for lawyers themselves, now technology is only used for, is making their professional lives much easier. Like you did say, they don't want delays. They want their legal certificates there and then. They want things to move a bit quicker. In what practical ways now does it also help them in a practical way? We have talked about the issue of getting their certification. They're practicing license renewals also. Is that catered for? As well as record management, communication with the other lawyers within the Law Society of Zimbabwe. How is it benefiting the legal practitioners particularly?
So, as I said, in terms of their applications for the license, which is done annually, the lawyers will find it easy to interact through the system. Those who are graduating and joining the profession, they will apply for registration on the system. As they traverse the world, they may need letters of good standing. They will be able to get those. You don't need to be in Zimbabwe to get your letter of good standing. You can be in Canada, you can be in the United States of America, UAE. You should be able to make your application, make your payment, and be able to receive your certificate of good standing without having to leave your desk.
Now, you said when it comes to, it's public facing as well, so it comes to members of the public interacting there. Right now, what they're able to do currently is lodge complaints against lawyers. But you did mention more modules are being developed. Will we see there being some sort of way to verify or authenticate that this lawyer is real or not? Because there have been a lot of cases where there are fake lawyers in the market. Will this platform be able to give the members of the public authentication to say this lawyer is legit, this one is not with us, we do not recognize this one?
Yes, there are two ways that you'll be able to check the authenticity of a legal practitioner. We already have a website that contains our directory of lawyers, so you could use that as one means. But because people have become so clever, people are able to generate fake practicing certificates, which is another way of you verifying whether a lawyer is bona fide or not. So in order to check the authenticity of the practicing certificate, the new practicing certificate under the IMS system is going to be having a QR code. So you can, if you have a smartphone, you can then check on the QR code and you'll be able to get authentication of the information regarding his name and maybe his qualifications, and that they are on the system. If they are not on the system, then the information will not be able to come out.
Now, allow me now to just play the devil's advocate for a bit.
Sure.
People have lodged complaints against some lawyers in the past that the Law Society has really struggled to deal with some of these complaints against legal practitioners, as well as lawyers, who are malpracticing or something like that. That has been a challenge with the Law Society. One of the biggest challenges. Now, if a member of the public does file their complaint through the system, like you're saying, is it going to help in terms of efficiency dealing with that complaint, or is just a complaint that you're lodging and that's it, and the Law Society of Zimbabwe is still going to be facing that challenge of dealing with those complaints?
Thank you very much. The system does not help expedite the complaints handling. The modules that we are talking about, in conjunction with changes to the legal framework, will help achieve that. We have been working in the past year on improving the framework, but it's law. It has to go through a number of processes. So we are at the beginning. It will have to go to the ministry for approval. Once the membership agrees to the changes to the statutory instruments that are relevant, we'll take the matter to the minister for approval of the bylaws. Once the new bylaws come into existence, our hope is that our processes will have become streamlined and we'll be able to effectively dispose of matters expeditiously. But for now, the benefit that comes with this online filing of complaints is that you don't need to live from Zarabani, you don't need to live Cholocho, you don't want to live in Eshuro. You just file your complaint whilst you are there, if you have the relevant tools.
Now, if I'm going to put you on the spotlight, what's the difference from sending an email? Because a person from Zarabani can simply send an email to the Law Society of Zimbabwe filing their complaint. Do they really have to use the platform?
The platform is important because, as I said, we are building the other modules. You should then be able to track your complaint on the system once the module is online, so that you don't need to be chasing up with emails every time. An email is just like a letter. It can lie there unanswered for some time, and you will not be any better. So you need a system that enables you to then track. It doesn't mean if I don't respond to your inquiry as to the progress that nothing has been done. Things could be happening. Letters could have been written to the respondent legal practitioner. Responses may have been given and sent to you. Maybe you have not yet seen them. But if you then track on the system, you should then be able to see how far your matter has gone. Maybe it is already under consideration by the relevant committees of council. So all those things become available to you on your fingertips.
Okay, so in a way, it's now making it quite easier for you to do follow-ups without having to do a follow-up, essentially. You can track it while it's happening.
Exactly.
Okay. So now, apart from complaints and, members, also member management, are there any other services that the IMS platform is offering?
Okay, I have already said members are going to be able to apply for their practicing certificates, primarily. Members are able to apply for registration. Members are able to upload their continuous professional development progress certificates on the line. Members are able to change and update their profiles. Members are also able to do a lot other things that affect them just as members of the society. So they'll be able to use the system in their interaction with the society. They can also raise issues, queries with the society using the system.
All right, we are going to take a quick break. You are watching Fourth Estate right here on ZTN Prime. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it. You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Welcome back. You are still watching Fourth Estate right here on ZTN Prime. We are broadcasting to you from our studios in the capital of Harare, Zimbabwe. Now, before the break, we were talking about the IMS platform, a platform that is being created by the Law Society of Zimbabwe to make it easier for members of the public as well as lawyers to access services, also be able to interact with their lawyers, verification processes, certifications of lawyers, and so forth. I have Mr. Edward Maparai, the executive secretary of the Law Society of Zimbabwe, and he's just helping us understand how this platform is working and what it really means for the law here in Zimbabwe. Now, like I did say before the break, we were discussing more about this platform and what it is doing. Now I want us to talk about how it's going to be helping inform the public about the legal profession and holding institutions accountable. Well, I must, in a way, make it easier for journalists to access verified information about lawyers, about cases that are being tried, or disciplinary matters without any delays.
Yeah, to an extent, I would say yes, but to an extent, no. The issue around investigation of complaints is obviously tantamount to what I can say sub judice. These are matters that are still under consideration, and you don't want any undue influence to come into play. So the accessibility of information on complaints becomes the preview of those who have the complaints filed and the Law Society itself. But because the systems are on our fingertips, it becomes easy for, say, our information manager to be able to quickly respond to any inquiries that you may make. At the moment, you have to rely on the officer who is handling the particular file. But once the information is on the system, it is easy for him to be able to pick up the file and be able to respond to queries that the journalists may have. And in a way, I think that brings about the accountability that you are talking about.
So for journalists, being able to access ongoing cases is still something that you're not really looking into. But for previous cases, is that information available?
That information is available. It's not yet on the system as well, because the system has just come live beginning on the 1st of August. So we don't have any live cases that can be accessed by journalists.
Okay, so our internet distribution is still very poor and inconsistent in some cases. If this system is fully integrated, does it mean an end to a person being able to physically walk into the Law Society and filing their complaint? Or is that option still very much accessible to those who want to do so?
Much as we may want everybody to use the system, the reality is that we live in will tell you that it's not possible to shut out people who may not have access to those platforms and those gadgets or the network. So yes, we remain available for physical interaction with people who may want to access our services. But with legal practitioners, we really are pushing for them to interact with us through the platform.
Now, beyond internal use, the IMS could be a tool for public engagement through notifications, notices, press releases, and alerts. Can we now expect more timely digital communication from LSZ to the press from this platform, instead of waiting to say we're going to have a press release at 5 p.m. Everyone can just know that at this time on the website it's going to be up and it's going to be there.
I may want to promise that, but when you are putting out information, it's processed. It's not just thrown in there as the facts as they happen. Some facts require interpretation. And so we have a system of accountability in-house where counsel has to be abreast with whatever information we may be putting out. There is general information which is non-contentious that you can access and promptly. But there's also information that requires the collective mind of the institution.
Not what you have said, that lawyers want things done quickly. But then again, lawyers are known to be a bunch that is very conservative. In a way, they want to keep upholding traditional values. How have they reacted from moving from a paper-based system to now a digital system where they really don't need to have a lot of papers to be able to do their things? Have they embraced the system, or is it something that they're still warming up to?
I think we have been pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
The uptake has been very good. We may be benefiting from a tradition that has already been started by our counterparts, the Judicial Services Commission. People have already been using the IECMS, which was introduced, I think, in 2022 by JSC. And we have seen that our members have been very quick. Applications have been rolling in, and activities already going on. We still have a few laggards who send in their requests in writing, and we are also attending to them, but I'm impressed by the uptake.
Apart from the IMS platform, are there any other digital tools that you're introducing in order to make life easier for the lawyers as well as the public who would want access to the lawyers?
We are only going to be adding more and more modules to expand our a range of services on the IMS system. And we think that we'll be able to take care of any concerns anyone may have.
Now let's talk about the verification of lawyers. There have been, earlier we talked about the issue of fake lawyers and how the public can really know that this is the real deal or this is not the real deal. I want to talk now on the back end of you, the people who are making sure that you are putting the verified lawyers. There have been cases where people have presented fake legal certificates and they have been, admitted and they have started practicing law. Is the system going to help in terms of identifying and making sure that really doesn't happen and it doesn't filter out into the public?
Okay, in terms of people with fake qualifications registering as lawyers, we have to consider that it's not an exercise that involves one entity. We have at least 3 entities that are involved in the process of registering a lawyer. The first entity is the Council for Legal Education, which is responsible for designating legal qualifications. The same organization is responsible for writing or running and administering the conversion exams for those whose degrees were acquired outside this jurisdiction. We then have the High Court, which does the registration. But the registration is more like a receptacle. It's a recipient of information submitted by the Council for Legal Education on one hand and by the Law Society. The Law Society is served with any application for someone seeking registration as a lawyer. And the Law Society carries out its due diligence. And that includes even verifying with the Council for Legal Education the authenticity of the certificates. Whilst in the past, the certificates from Council for Legal Education were taken on face value, we have now developed a system in which we verify the authenticity of the certificates. Unfortunately, this is a system that we have to do manually outside the new system. We may want to consider going forward how we will be able to incorporate the exercise of verification into the system. But for now, the system only receives the application with all the documents, and we have to verify physically with the respective issuers of those documents. The other institutions that are involved are obviously, if someone is going to fake a University of Zimbabwe degree, then the university is the one that is supposed to safeguard the integrity of their qualifications. But so far, we have not had cases where the certificate from the institution is challenged. Maybe 1 or 2 from outside, where we have sought verification of the authenticity and the people have disappeared.
They just,
Yes.
and you could not verify if they were bogus or if they were real.
We verified that the certificates were bogus. Yes.
And then after that, legal action was taken?
The person disappears.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Edward Mapara. We had such a quite insightful discussion, hoping that maybe the more the modules are added to the platform, the more efficient it will become.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I would want to say before I leave, it's important that you have given us this opportunity. Members of the public need to be very sure that they are being served by people who are properly qualified. And it is always important to check the authenticity of your legal practitioner. We hope that people will use the system to verify, people will check with the Law Society and verify the authenticity of their legal practitioners. You must be able to say the best person to offer you legal services is a registered and licensed legal practitioner. Thank you very much.
Mr. Edward Mapara, Executive Secretary, Law Society of Zimbabwe. And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. My name is Faith Nyaude.